So I previously showed you how to create a policy envelope to go with our slimline cards. And I've also shown you how to create a box envelope for our slimline cards. Well, today I've had a request from one of our community members to create a box policy envelope. So that's combining these two styles into one. So that's what I'll be doing today. The first thing you're going to need is a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock paper, and you're going to cut that down to 10 1/8 by 12. Get out your scoring tools because now we're going to do some scoring. I'm using my Martha Stewart board and a stylus. With the 10 1/8 at the top of your scoreboard, you're going to score at 2 inches. Now score at 2 1/2. 6 5/8, 7 1/8. Now what I need you to do is turn your paper one time to the right. The 12 inches will now be at the top of your scoreboard, and we're going to score at 1/2 inch. Then 1 inch. Now score at 10 1/8. And 10 5/8. And that concludes the scoring. The next thing we're going to do is some cutting, and you can either burnish your paper first and then do your cuts, or do your cuts and then burnish everything. What I'm going to do now is actually just do my cutting first. Sometimes people do burnishing first because it helps them see the score lines and be able to cut a little bit better. So turn our paper portrait, and you'll have the 1 1/8 inch at the top. It'll look like that. And we'll start down here at the bottom where you see a 1/2 inch, 2 double scoring lines. So what we're going to do is cut up on the score line all the way to the second score line. So you'll go into 1 to the second score line on the bottom of the paper, and then you'll cut up to the second score line. If you want, you can do a diagonal cut and give just a little sliver there. It's your preference. What we'll do is we'll come over then to the next score mark, which is the second one in from the right hand side. 1, 2, and we're going to cut this up to the second score line. At this point, we're basically doing the same types of cuts that we've done with the other envelopes. The next thing we're going to do is cut out this block over here on our left hand side. You'll see 2 score marks, and we're going to cut up to the second score mark, but we're going to leave the little tab. We're going to create a little tab right here. So you'll go in from the left hand side to the first score line and cut all the way up. And of course, you know you're cutting on the score line. So this gives us a little tab. We're going to turn this and cut out this little rectangle here. So your paper will look like that. Now, if you want, you could cut down this little tab to the first score line. You would cut it off and it would look like that. Or you can leave this on. For now, I'm going to just leave it on until I decide what I want to do. So now we're going to go over to the right-hand side and do the same thing. From the right-hand side, go to the first score line and cut straight up. We're going to turn this and cut out this block. Now our paper will look like this on the bottom. Now we need to do the same thing for the top. What we're going to do up here is just going to be slightly different. We don't need the tabs here at the top, unless you like that style, and then you can cut it the same way we did at the bottom. So I'm going to go here on the left-hand side. If our paper's this way, left-hand side, I'm going to cut out this block, and I'm going to go all the way down to the second score line. So from the top, 1, 2, and we're going to cut this out all the way over to the second vertical score line and then cut up. And then we're going to do the same thing on the right hand side. So we're going to cut this block out and we're going to go in to the second score line to cut down and over. So here is the final look at the top. These two sides have been cut out and you just have the center. At this point, what we're going to do is burnish all of the score lines. Now that we have everything burnished, the next thing you might want to do is to round the edges of your envelope. If you recall, in a policy envelope, they have a rounded little flap and at the bottom. To round the bottom corner, I am tucking this whole flap underneath like that, and then I'm tucking this back just so I have that. And I'll repeat the same over here, so where it looks like this. There. I was just thinking, maybe I'm going to do these. Just to give it a little something else. Now, you don't have to round these corners if you don't want to. I just thought maybe I would do it for something a little different. And then now at this point, we are going to glue. Now remember, when you put this together, you want to square this off and make it a box. Okay, so it will look like that. Don't push in, make it diagonal on the sides. That's not what we want. We want it to be more like a box. If you want, you could put something in between here as a gauge, like even a stamp block would work. Could put that down. That gives you a nice square and a surface to push on. That's up to you. And I think I'm going to use some adhesive tape. This is score tape. Normally I would use wet adhesive, but the paper I'm using has textured, it's a textured paper, so I think this would be better. Okay, so I have this here, squaring this off. Maybe I'll get a bigger block. Okay, so I actually have this bigger stamping block, and I'm going to put that in here to just help square this off. Now, if you don't have a block, it's okay. You can do it by hand. So we're going to bring up the sides and match up the lines here. I'll take that out now that I've got it, and make sure. Yeah. So here, if I wanted to do it by hand, you would just bring these together at the top. And square it off. Once you bring these together, then go ahead and it's probably easy to push downward. So you'll be putting the box at an angle and then push those together. See how I did that? Instead of it being like this, trying to close it in the box format, I flattened it to go ahead and burnish that tape. Hope that makes sense, and then you can just pop that back up into shape. Okay, now that we have the two sides together, what we need to do is close up the bottom. You could tuck these in like that, fold these, the flap over, and glue that down. Or you can glue these to the back here, your preference. You're just going to make sure that they're tucked in there at the end, and then fold this over. I'm going to go ahead and cut these off, which would really be easier if you do it when you're creating it. I just wanted to give you some options there. There we go. Okay, so next I'm going to add my adhesive to the little flap, and I'm only putting it on the first one, not the back, the second one. So there's actually 1, 2, we're putting it on the top like that. And then we're folding this up, and we're kind of squaring off the box again to the flap and then pressing down on the flap. Okay, and there you have your box policy envelope. So here is the envelope decorated. I added a label that I bought from the Dollar Tree, these jot labels. I love these. These are a great way to add journaling to anything, as well as use in mailing. So I added that label. These images here are from Creative Fabrica. I'll have that link down below, from Pretty Graphic. I love these. She had so many. I think it's a couple actually. And I purchased them and cut them out with my Cricut. These used print and cut. These are so stinking adorable. Love them. Frank. Here's the werewolf. Devil. Now these were 3 kits, 3 separate kits, and I got them all. And then I ended up, that's not part of it, and then I ended up buying a mega Halloween bundle from her. Super cute. So I used some of these Halloween kids and candy to create the card that I have inside. So there's the front. On the back side of the policy envelope, I did put a little candy there. I added my adhesive on the edge. And here is the card that I created. So I used white 110-pound cardstock for the base. This glitter paper is actually from the Dollar Tree. It saved me from gluing because it was adhesive. This background here, which I absolutely love, and it put my vision into play, and I love that. It's from Vecteezy. And I just love that website now that I've come across it. And then of course these images here and here are from Pretty Graphic. Love them. These images here, well, these two are from the Target Spritz stickers. And then I added a puffy trick or treat. So it's a bit dimensional. Love how this all worked out. There was a ghost peeking out, and I added, actually this is, little bat is a nail sticker, fingernail sticker. And this bat glows in the dark, and I didn't even know it when I put him on there. So this turned out really cute. And then when you open it, I did, it says boo, and I have a little spider here. These are from the Spritz bucket stickers at Target. I added just a pen line here, so it looks like he's climbing down. and did some layering of cardstock there. Super cute. So I think this turned out great. I hope this really helps you with the box policy envelopes. And I thank you for watching. See you next time.